Circulating online. You might have seen it by now. To be clear, here at KBLA, we have nothing but love for council members Heather Hutt and Curran D. Price Jr., who have been real champions for this particular Black-owned and operated business, even though KBLA does not sit in either of their council districts. But take a listen to our 8th District Council member, Marquise Harris Dawson, who, as you know, is also president of the LA City Council.
Marquise Harris Dawson, president of the Los Angeles City Council and representative of District 8. We just want you to know, from the 10th District to the 8th District and all across the city, we love the district. We support Tyree and the whole team that's there. It's one of the most beloved sports watching facilities in our district, and we all stand by them 100%.
All right. Now, for starters, lip service is not leadership, and slogans are not solutions. That said, I played that video at least 5 times. I mean, I was gobsmacked. The council president stands with Black businesses 100%? Oh, really? Is that just in the 10th council district? Good brother, you need to travel south down Crenshaw about a half mile. When you get to Vernon, get out the car and walk a few blocks. Ask the Black business owners in your 8th council district how they feel about being economically asphyxiated, not by an alleged predatory landlord, but by a city project that you launched years ago and cannot seem to get across the finish line. Can I keep it real? Can I keep it real? What is the point of having a Black city council president if he cannot find the funds to finish a years delayed project in his own district? What is the point of having a Black city council president who cannot curate a business interruption development fund for the suffocating businesses in his own district? I declare, these Black faces in high places don't mean diddly squat if they cannot deliver for Black people. In the next editorial, I'm going to tell you what accountability looks like. And if the city still can't figure it out, well, I guess we'll have to show them what accountability looks like. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA, Talk 1580, download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to Wealthy Wednesday on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. I am so grateful to God today that we are together again on the 405, the 101, the 5, the 10, the 118, and the 110 in Los Angeles, California, and by way of the app all over the country and around the world, including but not limited to England and South Africa. I keep getting text messages and queries from both South Africa and the UK. Grateful for your participation and your listenership here at KBLA Talk 1580, which we consider, given all that's at stake, the center of the political universe is right here at KBLA. I am very grateful that one of my good friends, Mina Moara, is a freelance writer and journalist who has interviewed over 800 influential leaders, now hopefully 801, including myself, 2 U.S. presidents, 3 vice presidents, and a variety of others. Mina is an author and influential mentor. How the Life and Legacy of Howard Hendricks Equipped and Inspired a Generation is the book that he wrote of leaders, how it inspired a generation of leaders. We'll talk about that more as we get through our program. Mina and his family reside in Kennesaw, Georgia. Mina, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580.
You know, it took a while to get here with you, but I'm here, man. I feel like it's Christmas today.
Hey, man, do you want to give a shout? We're still off from Christmas, but did you want to give a shout out to your mother, who I know is listening to us, I believe down in Florida?
She's down in Orlando, Florida, and so she watches you often, Jesse. It's kind of one of those things where I did not want to call and tell her, so I'm hoping I'm surprising her. Is what I'm hoping, man. So this is going to be a surprise. I better turn my phone off because she will definitely call me and go, "Hey, are you on right now?" And so, here it is. Man, it's good to be here with you.
Man. Hey, Mina, I'm so grateful. I am so grateful for your friendship.
Man, thank you.
I'm so grateful for your leadership. I recognize that there are times, a few of them, where we have a difference of opinions and thoughts. And so that makes for a very interesting dialogue. And I want to thank you on the front side of that. I should share with you not very long ago, I had Tucker Carlson on my show. And Tucker was really interesting. I texted him just the other day and I said, you know what? It took a lot of courage for you to distance yourself from the Republican Party most recently. And he said, you know what? I'm sick of it. I've had enough. And Tucker shared with us when he was on our program, hey, Jesse, don't forget, you introduced me to Barack Obama. And so I really, really do understand the journey of people, and I respect their journey. I have no judgment on their journey. And I think that our listeners can make their own judgment about the thoughts and the thinking of people and be respectful and civil in that space. We're at 2:10 in the central part of the time zone, and at 12:11 we go to our break here on KBLA. We say we're coming forward because we don't go backwards on KBLA. But I just want to thank you first and foremost for being on our show. Thank you, Mina.
It's good to be here. I cannot wait to talk about Tucker, hopefully other things. Man.
Oh, we're going to talk about Tucker Carlson. We're going to cover a lot of real estate because of a variety of opinions from evangelical thinking all the way to the politics of what's taking place in Washington, D.C. The basic spirit energy of our country does matter to our thinking and our calculation. I certainly want to talk about the outcome of yesterday's elections because I think it really, really drew to the forefront what's taking place in the body politic and in the democracy. The people and their thoughts and their votes matters. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. When we come forward, more with Mina Moara, freelance writer and journalist, here on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. 5 years old, yeah, with more that's coming your way. Congratulations, come on, y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA. 5 years deep and we still going up. Built it from the ground, now the real no one else. Real talk on the air, then the truth get heard. Every day the proof getting served. He had a vision and he stayed with the plan. Now they tapped in from the beach to the land. Never back down, 7 days of the week, still going up now. We 5 years deep. Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. Tommy smiling, you did it with 5 years today. Congratulations, come on y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-729-7070. That's 1-800-729-7070. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-729-7070. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Let's do this.
We're heading into one of the most important election seasons in a generation. And with so much on the line, your healthcare, your economy, your neighborhood, you deserve more than sound bites. You deserve the full story. KBLA Talk 1580 is your trusted voice for political coverage, commentary, and conversation. From local races to national headlines, we bring you the insight and perspective you need to make sense of it all and make your voice heard. Between now and November, a lot will happen. A lot will change. But one thing won't. KBLA Talk 1580 will be right here, keeping you informed, keeping you engaged, and keeping it real. KBLA Talk 1580, the place for politics.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
Mina, before I get to some questions about what's taking place, the elections yesterday, and a number of other issues that are, I think, are very pertinent, can you share with our listeners a little bit about yourself and your journey?
Yeah, man, thank you, Jesse. First of all, I'm glad to be here again, man. I got to tell you, seeing your journey come full circle is just amazing, man, first of all. Well, Jesse, I would say, I'm a minister, journalist, producer, man. And those three orders there, man. And it's one of those things that I love these type of conversations, to be honest with you, just because it allows us to really talk through where culture is and where the church is too, to some degree, because, they're not that far apart from one another usually, Jesse. But it's always good to chat with you and good to be here again, man.
I'm particularly honored that you're here. In the church, the pastor oftentimes responds to the congregation, and the congregation responds to the liturgy, if you will, of the church. And so you get this back and forth, this interaction that motivates the pastor, and the people are moved by the spirit energy. And I think the same is true in politics. In politics, the people respond. The political order should respond to that which the people say. Yesterday was a very, very important election across the country, but specifically in New York. How did you read, and how do others read from your perspective, what the American people had to say about our processes yesterday in the elections?
Yeah, Jesse, I've been to New York City 3 times and just this month alone, man. And every time I've gone for the last 3 times here, just this month alone, it's 2 words, Manny. It's just 2 words, basically. Ready and at the same time, restless, man. And when you see people who are ready for a change, and they usually are restless, like right behind you, if that makes sense, Jesse. And so it's one of those things where they're not only ready, but they're also restless. And if you want to say restless comes first before ready, you can say that too. But it's one of those deals where we look at everything going on. People are just restless, not only across the country, but definitely that's what we saw yesterday.
I think I also saw restless, ready, and repudiation.
Yes.
A number of Democratic mainstays, Democratic incumbents were defeated in the New York election. Mayor Mamdani actually endorsed some candidates contrarian to those supported by the sitting president of the United States, who's embroiled in a number of issues that are public. They're obvious. They're in every newspaper every single day. Every news channel is covering them. But at the same time, the voters themselves, the American people, spoke yesterday. And on this question of repudiation, did you hear what I heard?
Yeah, I really did, Jesse. It's one of those things where if you are Hakeem Jeffers, you woke up lonely this morning, to be honest with you, man. I mean, and in fact, I don't know if you've seen this yet or not, but the House Republicans actually placed a bouquet of flowers on his door. You know what that's like, Jesse, from being there.
I've been flowers on my door before.
Yeah, hey, we're sorry for your loss, but it's one of those things where the backdrop, though, people don't like talking about this, Jesse, is there was another mainstay backdrop behind this too, the AIPAC issue. And it's one of those deals where as the more and more of that funding comes out, the more and more that you're going to probably see people, whether good or bad, Jesse, go, I don't know if I can trust so-and-so politician.
That's really interesting. That's really interesting because as a minister, and I'm a graduate of Chicago Theological Seminary, I have never been ordained, but I've been on an occasion afforded the opportunity to, quote, pull it if I'm in a pulpit, if I have something to say that really moves my spirit. My question is, it's really interesting to me that on this question of AIPAC, we often associate their liberation story with our liberation story as Americans. In fact, many of the early architects of our republic referred to America as the new Israel.
Yeah.
They saw Palestine as Palestine. That's what they called the present land dispute, Palestine. They had no vision 250 years later that a state of Israel would have been formed. So they saw themselves on a prophetic, philosophical, theological journey, establishing the possibility of a second coming, of a great society, of a place where all men and women, yes, are created equal towards something in human history that recognized our oneness and our collective capacity to get something done on behalf of all people in the name of God, quite frankly. And I find it interesting that maybe in these elections, and I've experienced one of my own in the last 9 or so months, AIPAC has overextended its hand within the Democratic Party. And I think some of the ways in which they have hid their hand as they brought their money into the process, the American people are now responding with a divine clarity. Why not?
Yeah, I firmly agree. It's one of those things, Jesse, it is the backdrop, and we're going to wrestle with it here in the next election cycle as well, Jesse, at the same time, of how much can they bring in, how much they not bring in, who should they bring in to the table. It's going to get very uncomfortable, Jesse, here. I mean, and it's one of those things where whether good or bad, I think each candidate is going to have to fundamentally decide where and how are they going to use it and bring it up, or not even bring it up in of itself. And the person running against them, more than likely, is going to bring it up.
Mina, is it possible to be for Israeli security within internationally recognized boundaries and Palestinian justice at the same time, or are these two diametrically opposed ideas that can no longer be reconciled?
I don't think they can no longer be reconciled. I know that may make some people feel a little uneasy to a certain degree, but I don't think they can when you have on the forefront Palestinian children who are dying daily, Jesse. And so for a lot of people, they're seeing that and it's rubbing out everything else. Man. And that is where I think politicians are going to have to catch up to where culture is. And they're definitely going to have to catch up to where we are as a culture in certain communities in the country. New York City being one of those. And that's why you saw what you saw, in one of these races. It was two Jewish people who were running at the same time, man. Just that one of them was more progressive than the other one was. But at the same time, we've got to acknowledge that culture is further ahead than most politicians are. And that may be a first, Jesse. Usually politicians are more ahead than where we are as a culture. On this go around, because of social media, because of anything people have seen, they're more further ahead than most politicians are, man. And the ones who were with culture were the ones who won last night.
I find it interesting that the American people have watched the news, they've seen social media, they've been educated through processes other than buying the morning daily newspaper or looking at magazines and the traditional ways that you and I grew up when we rushed to the newsstand, which, by the way, no longer exists for the most part in America, to get a newspaper. Their response in the form of their vote, Raphael Warnock says a vote is a kind of prayer that we cast for the world that we want to build. And so as they watch these filters, or they filter the information, and they find themselves on the side of what's taking place with the Palestinian people, we still see our leadership, to some degree, Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu, in a very different space than the people's reaction to what's taking place at the polls. Is that a fair assessment?
I'd have to disagree with you, Jesse. I mean, to be honest with you, because we now see President Trump, as many people may or may not want to hear this, is that he may be lock in step with the majority of culture, to be honest with you. Because if you look at those two, they've had their confrontational moments. Anytime that you're cussing at somebody, Jesse, it's definitely confrontational. So I would say that he may be more lock in step with the culture than what he even realizes, man.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the idea of a semi truck jackknifing, because or turning a battleship. Once the head makes a quick turn, it's impossible for the trailer to necessarily to follow. But in this case, the people have made a turn, even if the president and the politicians, the Israeli leadership, have remained lockstep. But I must be candid, in the last 2 months, there has been a movement from Donald Trump to tie his, if you will, his semi-truck, his Mac engine to the trailer, and it has distanced himself, wittingly or unwittingly, from Benjamin Netanyahu, who he was aligned with at the conception and the beginning of the Iranian conflict.
He was, Jesse, but as you know, Jesse, you heard this before in local church life. Money is the last thing to go, and when it goes, it reveals everything. I think we're in the stage of money is the last thing to go, and so there's still a lot of money out there in the AIPAC world, for example, and other slots also. And I think what we're going to start seeing before we get to November, because people were taking notes last night, man, that, hey, if I want to win, this is what I'm going to have to do, these three things. And we've seen this over primary over primary.
What are these three things? What are these three things, Mina?
Well, the first one is, are you hearing culture, man? Like, are you in lock and step with it? The second thing is, Just because you're the leader doesn't mean that your group is going to follow you, man. And we saw that here in Georgia, for example, in the governor's race here. I mean, you look at what happened here and with Jackson, he was definitely, the one that the people got behind, even though President Trump did not get behind him, man. And the third thing is this, and we cannot ignore this. When it comes to affordability, it is a big issue, Jesse. Now, and here's what happens in a lot of circles, that a lot of politicians don't hang around the people who are really going through it, man. And it happens in media circles as well, is that, both these circles can become so insulated that they do not hear or understand that for a large majority of people, Jesse, over half, man, that they're having a very hard time with basic necessities, just basic stuff, man. And so when you look at 54% of people in our country do not have $400 in savings, Jesse. And not just that, they don't know where to even find it, man. And so that's coming to the forefront. You look at what happened last night, each one of those candidates, including the mayor of New York City, who may be becoming the new co-chair of the party, they spoke into that, Jesse.
There's definitely a transition taking place in the Democratic Party, even if the stalwarts don't see it coming. And those who are incumbents and were incumbents, they were dealt a very serious message, I think, in New York City, that if you don't stand for change, if you can't be the change that you say you're for, you're out of here. And I thought that was the classic case of Dan Goldman. Did you see that in that race as well?
I really did. And of course, he saw it too, Jesse. If you were to ask him afterward, I felt bad for him.
Wherever he is, he's having a rough morning. Dan, if you hear me, come on the Jesse Jackson Jr. show. Hell, I'll even have Mina back for that show so we can interview you together. Go ahead.
I felt bad for him, Jesse. I really did, because you can tell he had been punched, man, which is always hard, man, when you lose something, obviously. But
you don't have to tell me. I lost 1 out of, I think, 9 or 10, but it was painful, man.
It's painful, Jesse. And you saw it on his face. Here's the bottom line. The mayor obviously the mayor can't run for, vice presidency or presidency, obviously, but he will be on the ballot in a lot of races, man. And getting his endorsement is going to be huge. I would say getting his endorsement, some parts of the country are going to be right there neck and neck with the former President Obama, to be honest with you, man. Because last night he proved that although he maybe can't run for president of the United States, but he can make people take a look and go, hey, what about this guy, man? Now, I do think there is some, if you look at the upswings here, there are some things, if you're leading the Democrat Party, that you should be concerned about, Jesse. I do think Black men don't tend to rally around socialism, man. And that may be a factor that may cost them in some parts of the country, too, if they're not careful, where some of these votes are just razor thin, man. But for right now, we have a new co-chair of the Democrat Party. Right?
I saw the foundation. Oh, I'm sorry. We've got a moment that we have to take a break here. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. More with Mina Moara when we come forward, a freelance writer and journalist who's interviewed more than 800 influential leaders. He's our very special guest right here at KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Mike Island with BIN News Now. As we've been reporting to you, candidates endorsed by New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani were big winners on election night. They include progressive challenger Brad Lander, who has accused Israel of committing genocide in Gaza. He defeated two-term incumbent Dan Goldman, who was supported by pro-Israel groups. SNAP benefits, or the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, is continuing to go through changes. In many states, restrictions are in place as to what you can buy with your SNAP card, like candies and sugary drinks. In Tennessee, a federal judge has temporarily blocked the ban on the junk food. Some recipients don't have a problem with such a restriction, like Brittany Cottingham of Memphis.
I'd rather be a little more regulated on junk food. It's not that big of a deal to me.
The African-American mother tells WHBQ it's good to be healthy. Get BIN News Now on demand on the free iHeartRadio app.
Attention Ram owners. Complete Recall 67A. Get $500 and a chance to win a getaway to Miami for two to see the final race of the season. Plus, meet Brendan Butterbean Queen. Learn more and schedule at CumminsRecall.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
One of the potential 9 free agents on the Lakers roster is planning to stay with the team. Austin Reeves has agreed to a 4-year, $185 million max contract. The deal will pay Reeves an average of $46.2 million per year. Reeves is signing the richest contract in NBA history for an undrafted player. The 28-year-old Reeves joined the Lakers as a free agent in 2022 after playing at Oklahoma. Reeves was not selected in the 2022 NBA draft. The Dodgers are donating $1.1 million to 2 nonprofits that are assisting families in the LA area impacted by the ICE immigration raids last summer. The Dodgers agreed to help the California Community Foundation and Labor Community Services. Last June, Dodgers management instructed their security team to block ICE agents from entering property at Dodger Stadium to seek out undocumented immigrants. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Going to a World Cup match in LA this summer? Ditch the parking stress and ride Metro. With direct service from across LA County, it's the easy way to get there for just $1.75 each way.
There is no denying that we've always been the conscience of this country. KBLA Talk 1580 is progressive talk radio built for our community, by our community, and with hosts who look like you, live near you, and care about what you care about. 50,000 watts of truth right here in Southern California. KBLA Talk 1580. Listen live on your AM radio dial at 1580 or stream us live on our KBLA1580.com website or on our free KBLA 1580 app.
Unapologetically progressive.
This November, you'll decide who leads California. So shouldn't you hear directly from the people asking for your vote? Join us for California Voices, a political town hall and ballot forum, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026. Meet candidates running for governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and other major statewide and local offices, including mayor of Los Angeles, city attorney, and LA County sheriff. Get clear, nonpartisan breakdowns of the propositions on your November ballot, both sides, no spin. And ask your questions directly, in real conversation, face to face. California Voices is brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the Empowerment Congress, giving you the information you need before you vote. Mark your calendar. Saturday, October 3rd, 2026. California Voices. Follow KBLA 1580 for details and download the KBLA 1580 app. Your vote, your voice. Be there.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
When disasters hit and cell networks fail, Rapid Radios keeps you connected. Instant push-to-talk with coast-to-coast range. No contracts, no monthly bills. Trusted by law enforcement, government agencies, and over 500,000 users. Always ready when your phone isn't. Because in an emergency, seconds matter, and reliability isn't optional. Go to rapidradios.com. Use code RADIO for 5% off and free shipping from Michigan. Rapid Radios. Communication redefined.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Our very special guest in this hour is my good friend, Mina Mwara, a freelance writer who has interviewed over 800 influential leaders, including two U.S. presidents, 3 vice presidents, and a variety of others. Mina is also the author of The Influential Mentor, How the Life and Legacy of Howard Hendricks Equipped and Inspired a Generation of Leaders. Mina and his family reside in Kennesaw, Georgia. Mina, Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Man, good to see you, man, again.
Man, it's always a pleasure to see you. Tell us about how we can get, but also the importance of the life of Howard Hendricks and how he equipped
Jesse, thank you for asking about that, man. I love just the model of mentorship in general. So you look at Howard Hendricks, I really took the top 10 evangelical pastors and I put them through the lens. And what I found out is that Howard Hendricks mentored 8 out of the top 10, man. And so that got me on just the road and research of what does it mean to be a good mentor, man? What does it take for somebody to literally say, I'm going to pour my life into you? And you and I both have had great mentors, Jesse, obviously, in our past, man, and our current future too as well, our current situations now as well. And so Howard Hendricks was a professor who literally poured into folks like Tony Evans, Andy Stanley, and a whole host of just other people.
Man, I'm trying to pour into my son. I'm trying to pour into my daughter. Yeah. And you're telling me that you think you've unlocked right here in The Influential Mentor how Howard Hendricks actually poured into 8 out of 10 influencers that you looked at, regardless of the politics, regardless of the theological angle. And in pouring into other people, he actually expanded his own existence because of the unique dynamic of what it means to be human. We are all finite. We're not going to live forever. Right. You've got to pour into somebody.
Yeah. And for example, if you go to Chick-fil-A, for example, and you hear My Pleasure, he was the one who inspired that to one of their leaders, man, who said, we need to start doing this more, in fact, man. And so
you'll never hear that at Burger King. You'll never hear that at McDonald's. You'll never hear that at Kentucky Fried Chicken. You'll never hear that at Popeyes. My pleasure. It's my pleasure to serve you. My pleasure. And they take Sunday off, by the way.
Yeah. So there you have it. So it was fun to write. I think we all need to mentor someone. Jesse, I've had the privilege, man, of watching you from afar, having dinners with you, obviously, to where I've walked away every time going, man, here are the 3 things that I've learned. Jesse, if I could say this real quickly, man, I'll never forget we're having lunch or dinner one of these days, man, and your dad called you, man, and you took the call, and I'll never forget you just lighting up, man, by that call. And I remember going, you know what? I want to be that kind of dad. And it just stood out to me that I never met your dad or knew your dad, but it stood out to me in such a meaningful way where I said, you know what? Even someone of incredible influence that your dad had, man, that when he called you, man, no offense to you here, but you look like a 5-year-old kid, man, who was excited to get a phone call.
I became a 5-year-old kid when he asked me to repay the loan. Hey, Dad, it's me.
It's me. So
no, I owe you some money. Can you write it off?
And they're like, no. So mentor someone is what I'm trying to say, Jesse.
I appreciate that. Mina, let me shift back to I'm assuming that the book is available on Amazon.com.
It is. You can find it there.
Okay. The title of the book is The Influential Mentor: How the Life and Legacy of Howard Hendricks Equipped and Inspired a Generation of Leaders. Mina Moira is developed a foreword along with, I want to say, Tony Evans.
Tony Evans.
Yeah. I'm so grateful and encouraging our listeners to consider The Influential Mentor by Mina Moira. Hey, Mina, let me ask you this question. I see a resurgence in Mayor Mamdani of big city Democratic politics, a machine. Last night, if nothing else, there is a machine that exists now in New York, a progressive machine that I haven't seen, and I was very young when the Richard J. Daley machine of Chicago could influence national Democratic politics. And the machine did not develop around Eric Adams. It did not develop around Koch. It did not develop around previous mayors of New York. I see a progressive machine that at the hour of Donald Trump is actually focused on the federal government itself and the behavior of the president of the United States. And that machine does include Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and those victors who now support Mamdani, and Mamdani obviously supported them, who defeated the Schlossbergs, as well as the footsteps that Chuck Schumer must be hearing as a result of what took place last night. But at the same time, I'm thinking and I'm observing the attack by this administration on Chicago and on New York and on big Democratic cities, if you will, around the country. Your initial thoughts?
Well, I think mayors win. As Tip O'Neill always said, all politics is local. And so who do people see more so than anybody else? Their mayor. And it's one of those things where if your mayor happens to be cool and exciting and there at the right time, man, they're going to win. And now here it is different. Here it's somewhat different in the sense of we will be writing and talking about him for decades, Jesse. I mean, he will be someone we will look back and literally go, he was a change agent here. So whether you like him or whether you don't, whether he's on the ballot or not, Jesse, I mean, he will always be underneath there for most Democratic politicians on the ballot, good and bad. Now, for example, Jesse, if you're here in the South, here in Georgia, here in Alabama, in those places, they're going to be using him on every commercial, man. And so I would tell any person who's running for office in the South that if they want to win a race, and if they're Democrats, to probably not be on the same stage with him. But if you're outside the South, man, you're going to want him to endorse you. Man.
Interestingly enough, though, in Georgia, where you are, the people themselves showed up without a leader. One might argue that they may have been led by, a Democratic figure or even a Republican figure. But the state legislature recently, as Barbara Arnwine said on our program yesterday, capitulated on the question of redistricting when the people showed up. And I was actually particularly impressed that Governor Kemp in Georgia responded, and the legislature responded to the idea that the people themselves spoke. And even that Republican majority appeared to be responsive to the concerns of the people.
Well, I would say it's about Kemp. I've interviewed him a number of times, Jesse. and he's a great politician, man. He's a pretty good about, like, he definitely sees where the people are typically, not always. He suffered a blowback here a couple of weeks ago, but I would say that he's usually lock in step with the people, sometimes a little behind. But if a politician can be lock in step with their culture, with their people, Jesse, they're going to do well in this upcoming race. Like each race is going to depend on who is running for office. Fundamentally, man. It will not be a national election. It will be a local election down to the wire, in fact.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. When we come forward, a couple more questions from Wina and his word of hope. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Chris Holden, former California Assembly member, former Mayor of Pasadena, and CEO of LA Fire Justice. I've spent my career fighting for our communities. When I saw Edison celebrating $4.5 billion in profits while Eaton Fire survivors struggle to make ends meet, it made me simultaneously sick and furious. Families and individuals are dealing with financial pressure, insurance delays, costly remediation, and the painful question of how to rebuild their lives, while the utility that caused the fire is paying its executives millions and is more profitable than ever. That's not justice. That's a disgrace. Join the lawsuit with LA Fire Justice to hold Edison accountable. We're here to help you, your family, and our community recover. Visit lafirejustice.com today to learn more about your eligibility and how to start.
Advertisement. Douglas Boxer, 221 East Walnut Street, Suite 100, Pasadena, California, 91101 is the attorney responsible for this ad.
LA Fire Justice is proud to sponsor Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Gas prices got you down. LADWP customers get a rebate of up to $4,000 when you buy a used electric or plug-in hybrid vehicle. Installing an EV charger at your home? Get a rebate for that too, up to $1,500. Visit ladwp.com/EV today and start saving. That's ladwp.com/EV.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Tired of being locked out of job opportunities and shut down by systemic racism? KBLA Talk 1580 stands with you in fighting for the rights of black workers, and we don't black down. The Los Angeles Black Workers Center is a dynamic alliance of workers, organized labor, community-based organizations, clergy, students, and scholars working collectively to improve the position of the black working class. The LA Black Workers Center takes a comprehensive approach to addressing the black jobs crisis. Their programs promote access to quality jobs, racial equity in hiring and retention, discrimination-free job sites, and they prepare black workers for employment in high-wage career track jobs. The LA Black Workers Center supports workers who need help protecting their rights on the job. They give workers access to quality jobs and remove systemic barriers to employment. And they are advocating for a fair deal for black workers in the new Los Angeles City Charter. To sign up for free career readiness training, get involved in organizing, or learn about union apprenticeship programs and trade registries, please visit lablackworkercenter.org. That's lablackworkercenter.org. Together, we can beat the black jobs crisis and build a more equitable Los Angeles. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. At the heart of the Al Wooten Center's mission for good citizenship and academic excellence is a desire to ensure that every student avoids the kind of lifestyle and overcomes the kinds of challenges that led to the murder of Al Wooten Jr. In 1990, founder Myrtle Fay Rumpf opened the center in honor of her son's life. In 2026, they are serving more than 300 students in grades 3 through 12 annually online and on site at their youth center and other other sites in the South LA area. The Al Wooten Jr. Youth Center takes a neighborhood approach to the revitalization and empowerment of a community in crisis. The Wooten Center provides free after-school and summer programs to help students in grades 3 through 12 attain grade-level proficiency and promotion, high school graduation, and college and career access and success. The Al Wooten Center focuses on academics, STEM, the arts, and so much more. Join them for an enriching experience that sparks creativity and nurtures young minds. Tap in at wootencenter.org. That's wootencenter.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Getting around LA doesn't have to cost a lot. Metro has fares that fit every budget. 20 free rides for qualified riders through the Life Fare program. Free passes for students with GoPass and affordable options for everyone in between. Wherever you're going, Metro's got you covered. Visit metro.net/fare programs.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580.
Come on and talk with me.
Moira, freelance writer and journalist who has interviewed over 800 influential leaders, including U.S. presidents, 2 of them in number, 3 vice presidents, and a variety of others. He's the author of The Influential Mentor: How the Life and Legacy of Howard Hendricks Equipped and Inspired a Generation of Leaders. Mina and his family reside in Kennesaw, Georgia, and I want to give a shout out to his mother in Florida, who is a regular listener to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Mina, welcome forward to the show.
Good to be back again, man. I got to tell you, the music on this show is amazing, Jesse. So I just want to be clear.
Well, please let Facebook know that they should not hit us with copyright infringements.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We are having a wonderful time right here on the show, and I'm totally in love with the KBLA 5th anniversary happy birthday jingle, which is like really, really cool and really, really well produced. And I want to thank Kenny Smith for his leadership in that space. Hey, Mina, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
This attack on the big cities, the big blue cities where we largely are, I don't separate it from, the pre-Bellum period or the Bellum period where it was North versus South, Northerners who identified with saving the Union but still believed or didn't have a problem with slavery until Gettysburg of 1863. I'm thinking that the first 157 July 4ths from 1619 to 1863 was just another day in the history of our people.
Yeah.
Then, of course, the Declaration of Independence. And then the next 88 July 4ths were just another day, even though there was something called the United States as a result of the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, yada, yada, yada. And then in Gettysburg, Lincoln comes back after the battle, and the Confederates, the conservatives, are on retreat. He defines in November of that year the future of July 4th. He defines and gives new life to the meaning of the Declaration of Independence. And from my perspective, and I'd like to hear your opinion on yours, this July 4th, given all that we've experienced as a nation and the imperial presidency, is unlike any other that we've experienced in modern American history and maybe even in all of American history. Why not? Your thoughts?
Yeah, Jesse, it's what the young people say. It's complicated. It's a complicated birthday. It's a complicated celebration. It's going to be a complicated day because for half of our country, they're going to be thinking to themselves, I was not invited to this birthday party.
Interesting.
And so, when you're not invited to a party, what do you do, man? Do you hang around or do you just go home? And so we have to admit and say to ourselves, for half of the country, they feel like they've not been invited.
That's honest. That's really honest right there.
It just is. And so, but it's also complicated because for my daughter and her 13-year-old friends, they would all say, what
it's
do we
barbecue
do?
time. It's firework, barbecue time. I live in America. I get it. My kids are right there.
So it's one of those things, Jesse, when you think about all of the complications and all of the emotions, what will come out of this, I don't know. I wish I was at July 4th today to kind of go, here's where we are. But we're going to have to look back, when it gets to July 5th and go, this is complicated. And we're in a complicated union and a complicated time. And to make fun of cities, to come against cities, that strategy is just not going to work long term, man, because more people live in cities today than any other time in American history, man. And we need them more than we've ever had before as well, Jesse. And so you can't make fun of a city that you got to go into every day.
We are listening to Worldwide with Wilmer Leon. Wilmer could not make it today, but I am so grateful that my friend Moina Moira was able to join us at the last moment. And of course, grateful to our producer, Gina Towns, for reaching out and grabbing someone who I knew would make an absolutely interesting show. And when she told me that Moina was coming on the show, I said, yay! Oh, wow. We're going to have a thoughtful conversation that can cover just about any question. Moina, listen, we've got about 2.5 minutes before we come forward, which is, of course, the end of our show. I hope maybe hang around with us maybe for the first part of the next show. And in fact, our regular contributor can join us. But we always offer our regular contributors as well as our guests the opportunity for the final word of hope from our show. Why not? Your word of hope.
I appreciate that. Thank you again for having me on, Jesse. Just say hello, man. That would be my word. When we say hello to people, I think it gives life to them, gives life to us. I think we may be surprised, honestly, on where it may take us in a number of ways. But when you say hello to someone, it gives them the dignity to literally look back at you and say, man, we see each other. And that's why I think that word is so powerful. I think that's why the motion and it is incredible to us. And to be fair with you, Jesse, I'm a little concerned because we're not saying hello enough. Because when you're not saying hello enough, you don't dignify the other person, man. But when you say hello to one another, man, something just begins to happen.
And you know what? As long as I've been doing this show for a couple of years now, I don't think anyone has ever offered just a simple word. Everyone's got a philosophy, a theory, or a mini sermon.
I wish I had one.
But hello, or some form of gratitude, or some acknowledgement. I think hello is like acknowledgement. It's an acknowledgement of your personhood, that you matter to me, that I'm thinking of you in this instance with all that's going on in my day and in my world, or in anyone's day or anyone's world. If you're on the 405, the 101, the 5, the 110, the 118, the 10, and you're thinking about road rage because someone just honked at you or just said something nasty or negative or flipped you the bird, to just say hello, or to treat a person with the dignity of an acknowledgement that they exist. I can't think of something more beautiful. Why not? Gina's over here giving me all kinds of signals, trying to say, hey, he's got to come back. He's got to come back. I want him back as soon as Friday.
Gina is amazing.
Gina's amazing. On the Fat Meat Friday show. Okay. Well, then she says there's going to be a serious grilling, so we can go even deeper with Moina Moira, who has interviewed more than 800 influential leaders, including 2 U.S. presidents and 3 vice presidents. Grateful for your participation in our show.
Thanks, man.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Hopefully, Moina will be with us for another segment right after the break. And then we come forward with Reverend Dr. Todd Yeary, 1 foot in the pulpit and 1 foot in the courtroom, 1 foot in church and 1 foot in reality. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Island with BIN News Now. As we've been reporting to you, candidates endorsed by New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani were big winners on election night. They include progressive challenger Brad Lander, who has accused Israel of committing genocide in Gaza. He defeated two-term incumbent Dan Goldman, who was supported by pro-Israel groups. SNAP benefits, or the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, is continuing to go through changes. In many states, restrictions are in place as to what you can buy with your SNAP card, like candies and sugary drinks. In Tennessee, a federal judge has temporarily blocked the ban on the junk food. Some recipients don't have a problem with such a restriction, like Brittany Cottingham of Memphis.
I'd rather be a little more regulated on junk food. It's not that big of a deal to me.
The African-American mother tells WHBQ it's good to be healthy. Get BIN News Now on demand on the free iHeartRadio app.
Attention Ram owners. Complete Recall 67A. Get $500 and a chance to win a getaway to Miami for two to see the final race of the season. Plus, meet Brendan Butterbean Queen. Learn more and schedule at CumminsRecall.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
One of the potential 9 free agents on the Lakers roster is planning to stay with the team. Austin Reeves has agreed to a 4-year, $185 million max contract. The deal will pay Reeves an average of $46.2 million per year. Reeves is signing the richest contract in NBA history for an undrafted player. The 28-year-old Reeves joined the Lakers as a free agent in 2022 after playing at Oklahoma. Reeves was not selected in the 2022 NBA draft. The Dodgers are donating $1.1 million to 2 nonprofits that are assisting families in the LA area impacted by the ICE immigration raids last summer. The Dodgers agreed to help the California Community Foundation and Labor Community Services. Last June, Dodgers management instructed their security team to block ICE agents from entering property at Dodger Stadium to seek out undocumented immigrants. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. Some interesting developments as it relates to Destination Crenshaw, or Procrastination Crenshaw, as it's known around these parts. So just north of us on Crenshaw Boulevard in the 10th Council District, there's a black-owned restaurant called The District. Apparently, the restaurant is in some sort of legal dispute with the landlord, and it's gotten pretty ugly. So ugly, in fact, that the 3 black members of the LA City Council recorded a video in support of the restaurant, which is now circulating online. You might have seen it by now. To be clear, here at KBLA, we have nothing but love for Council members Heather Hutt and Curran D. Price Jr., who have been real champions for this particular black-owned and operated business, even though KBLA does not sit in either of their council districts. But take a listen to our 8th District Council member, Marquise Harris Dawson, who, as you know, is also president of the LA City Council.
Marquise Harris Dawson, president of the Los Angeles City Council and representative of District 8. We just want you to know, from the 10th District to the 8th District and all across the city, we love the district. We support Tyree and the whole team that's there. It's one of the most beloved sports watching facilities in our district, and we all stand by them 100%.
All right. Now, for starters, lip service is not leadership, and slogans are not solutions. That said, I played that video at least 5 times. I mean, I was gobsmacked. The council president stands with black businesses 100%? Oh, really? Is that just in the 10th council district? Good brother, you need to travel south down Crenshaw about a half mile. When you get to Vernon, get out the car and walk a few blocks. Ask the black business owners in your 8th council district how they feel about being economically asphyxiated, not by an alleged predatory landlord, but by a city project that you launched years ago and cannot seem to get across the finish line. Can I keep it real? Can I keep it real? What is the point of having a black city council president if he cannot find the funds to finish a years delayed project in his own district? What is the point of having a black city council president who cannot curate a business interruption development fund for the suffocating businesses in his own district? I declare these black faces in high places don't mean diddly squat if they cannot deliver for black people. In the next editorial, I'm going to tell you what accountability looks like. And if the city still can't figure it out, well, I guess we'll have to show them what accountability looks like. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
Wealthy Wednesday on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580. We had a wealthy conversation with Moina Moira, a freelance writer, journalist, who's interviewed over 800 influential leaders, including 2 U.S. presidents, 3 vice presidents, and a variety of others. Moina is the author of The Influential Mentor: How the Life and Legacy of Howard Hendricks Equipped and Inspired a Generation of Leaders. His family resides in Kennesaw, Georgia. He knows everything that's going on in the state of Georgia, and he is our very special guest and my very good friend. Moina, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Good to be here, man. I gotta say, I miss you not being here in the Atlanta area, Jesse.
Man, I'm on my way back, man. I'm on my way back. Just give me about 10 days, and we're heading south, and we'll set up shop, and we'll be there for a good month.
Wow.
Between South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, and Georgia, interviewing a number of people in that part of our country. So we're heading in that direction. One of the fascinating things about talking to Moina is this. You can have almost a conversation with him about any subject matter, and you don't have to give him the questions on the front side. He's that literate, that thoughtful, and that well-read. And so I want to turn our attention for just a moment in this segment to April 18th, 1864. Abraham Lincoln delivers an address to the Sanitary Fair in Baltimore, Maryland, a lecture on liberty. And Moina, he says this: the world has never had a good definition of the word liberty. And the American people just now are much in want of one. We all declare for liberty, but in using the same word, we do not mean the same thing. With some, the word liberty may mean for each man to do as he pleases with himself and the product of his labor, while with others, the same word may mean for some men to do as they please with other men and the product of other men's labor. Here, we not only have 2 different but incompatible things called by the same name, liberty, and it follows that each of these things is, by their respective parties, called by 2 different and incompatible names, liberty and tyranny. The regular contributor of our show on this particular hour is none other than the great Reverend Dr. Todd Eury, principal of the Eury Firm, a Maryland-based litigation and government relations firm, and also serves as the senior pastor of the Douglas Memorial Church of Baltimore and affiliates. Dr. Eury, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
And I get to hang out with Jesse Jackson Jr. when he's dealing with real world issues. How about that?
I appreciate that, Dr. Eury. Dr. Eury, this is Moina Moira. We have about 1.5 minutes before we come forward. Let me ask Moina to respond to what Abraham Lincoln said in 1864.
Man, some things never change, unfortunately. Maybe fortunately. But I think we're here again. And it's one of those things where, how do we dig ourselves out of this, maybe, Jesse, or where do we go from here? I think that's going to be the question. For our generation, somewhat, we look at Generation X and the Alpha generation. I think they're going to answer that question.
I'm of a slightly different opinion, but I do agree in principle with Moina. Abraham Lincoln got tired of the word liberty, and to describe the very unique event, Dr. Uri, he said emancipation. We need to free people. And let's not get confused between the two words. Dr. Uri?
Yeah, liberty and liberation are not necessarily synonymous. One is claimed by the oppressor. The one is the objective of the oppressed. And so we have to be clear on which side of that equation we find ourselves.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Our guest has been Moina Moara, and a journalist and a very good friend of mine. And we are Wealthy Wednesdays with Dr. Todd Uri. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. 5 years old, yeah, with more that's coming your way. Congratulations, come on, y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA. Look, 5 years deep and we still going up. Built it from the ground, now the real knowing us. Real talk on the air, then the truth get heard. Every day the proof getting served. He had a vision and he stayed with the plan. Now they tapped in from the beach to the land. Never back down, 7 days of the week, still going up now. We 5 years deep. Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. Happy smiling, you did it with 5 years today. Congratulations, come on y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-729-7070. That's 1-800-729-7070. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-729-7070. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Let's do this. We're heading into one of the most important election seasons in a generation. And with so much on the line, your healthcare, your economy, your neighborhood, you deserve more than sound bites. You deserve the full story. KBLA Talk 1580 is your trusted voice for political coverage, commentary, and conversation. From local races to national headlines, we bring you the insight and perspective you need to make sense of it all and make your voice heard. Between now and November, a lot will happen. A lot will change. But one thing won't. KBLA Talk 1580 will be right here, keeping you informed, keeping you engaged, and keeping it real. KBLA Talk 1580, the place for politics.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Wally drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. It's the Politics of Our Faith with Reverend Dr. S. Todd Uri. Todd, I wish you were with us, Dr. Uri, in Los Angeles when people kept coming up to us over the course of the 5th anniversary celebration of KBLA on June 2nd saying, is Dr. Yeary here? Is Dr. Yeary here? I'm thinking about joining his church. I said, well, he's all the way in Baltimore.
They clearly were disoriented. The sun was too hot out on the left coast. So, it's all right. It's all good.
We had barbecue. Tavis didn't have no spiced drinks, but that don't mean people didn't have them in their little bags. But they were having a great time. Kenny Lattimore was fantastic. Lunel was funny. It was great to see Dominique and Zoe and Tavis, of course, Dr. Cornell West, and all of the contributors, our behind the scenes people, Nick Cordelai Corte and his wonderful show, A More Perfect Union, Kenny Adams, Miles Lowe, and of course, Andy and the team, Taz, that keep all of our shows running on KBLA Talk 50. We had a great time. But Doc, let me ask you this question, because I think some of this confusion out here is the careful selection of words in the English language. Now, let me try a little experiment here. If I say, Reverend Yeary, please, I'm evoking and invoking a certain response. If I say, Negro, please, there's going to be another response from Todd Yeary. And if I say, please, yet another response. I think in the sanitary fair speech, Abraham Lincoln is saying there is confusion over the word liberty. For one group, it means to do with themselves as they choose. Whether you're the LGBT community, whether you're African Americans, whether you're women, or whether you're white male landowners who think that Negroes are property, you can do with yourself as you please. And then there's another group of people who use the word liberty, but they're discussing, this is how I'm going to pay my workers. This is how limited, because I want a profit, I'm going to provide health care. This is how I'm going to define a work day. This is how I'm going to squeeze $1 more out of this quarter by making him or her work a little longer. And Abraham Lincoln says, enough of the confusion. To define this event for all time, I choose the word emancipation. And when we hear the word emancipation, the first thing that comes to mind is Negro people. Talk to me, Dr. Yeary.
Okay. All right. It's the first Wealthy Wednesday since the season changed. The summertime's here. It's hot. And so you decided you wanted to raise the temperature and not give a brother any warning. But okay, it's cool. I'm good.
I thought about it in real time because you're that guy. You and Moira can handle anything I throw at them, which makes you so.
I was gonna say, happy birthday to KBLA and the good work that Tavis Smiley's doing. I was getting ready to put on the birthday hat and light some candles, but here you come. Here you come. So here's the issue. Words have meaning, but the meaning assigned to it depends on who's using it. And so when we think about domination, there's the meaning of words from the perspective of those who are dominant by virtue of force, and those who find themselves dominated by that same force. And so how I understand the word is in the context of who is using the word in the discourse that I'm a part of, assuming that I'm a part of the discourse. So we have to be clear on context. Abraham Lincoln used the word from a particular posture of power, but he also had a particular worldview and self-interest. And so we have to be critical, even as we are being somewhat open to and generous with our interpretation of what he meant. The reality is that for as much as Lincoln did, arguably, we don't believe that he did all that he could have done, although he did more than we had prior to. And so we got to be clear on the politics of language. Dr. Ali Mazuri talks about that when we consider how words are used as political tools. And whatever the political objective is will inform how the language is applied. Now, for those of us who are fighting against the system that has historically and persistently held us back from full enjoyment of what it means to be, when we say liberty, the four-letter word that we often use, but it doesn't get much shrift, is free. We've never been totally free. Even as we are looking at the dynamics of the structure not even being open to doing right in the sense of restitution. We think about how DOJ has entered itself as an intervener in the lawsuit in Evanston around reparations. And so we have to be very, very clear about where we stand in the conversation. If it's a family member conversation, if we're just sitting at the table, then yeah, the words have meaning because we're using a different lexicon. But if it is a dominated conversation, then we have to always be suspect about what those who never have to see the world through the eyes of those who are dominated mean by the words that they're using, such as liberty and liberation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and are endowed with, by their creator, with certain inalienable rights, among them life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That sounds good. It has rhetorical flourish to it. But depending on where you sit in relationship to the application of that framing, you come away with a different expectation of the outcome.
That's really interesting, Dr. Erie, because in this moment, I'm saying to myself, if I'm Joe Biden or if I'm Barack Obama, looking at the content of one's character, bring Susan Rice or bring General Holder or bring them into my administration, by definition, I'm bringing people close to me that I have a relationship with and I don't have to announce it. But when I hear someone say, I have black friends, or I like the blacks, or the blacks do this, what am I to make of one posture, which is, let's say, Biden and Obama showing us their relationships by who they trust with power, and someone who is not showing us, but uses a kind of different lexicon or terminology that suggests that somehow I'm okay because I know a few blacks. Help me here, Doc.
Yeah, when we don't have enough time today to unpack the seriousness of the question you just raised. When you find yourself in a position that allows you to engage beyond the reach of the implications of what you're talking about, you tend to talk at things. We see and hear this every single day. When you come to that place by way of some level of familiarity with what it means to be among the oppressed, the late Dr. James Cone, who educated many of us around God talk and liberation when he wrote the book God of the Oppressed, how we speak is informed by how we experience. And so this administration's experience is detached from anything related to struggle. It is foreign to him and them, and therefore their ability to relate to it comes out like, I don't have time to worry about Medicare, seniors, Medicaid, poor people, or child care, vulnerable, because that's not my experience. Therefore, it is not my concern. For others that you've named, where there's some relative understanding, whether directly or indirectly, proximity matters, that there's a bit of compassion that comes along with the conversation, and it should, and we should always demand that it show up in the policy proposals and the application of how government works. But if you're on the other side of that coin, right, the obligation becomes one where we always hold those who are framing the conversation accountable for the outcomes. It is not enough for them to give us sound bites and milquetoast responses, but we have to demand that the government, our government of, for, and by the people, meets us at the level of our expectation and demand because we are the people. Unfortunately, corporations have become people under the law, and because of their economic dominance, they control much more sway than the masses of the rest of us, which means then there is a popular uprising that is warranted in the moment so that the corporations and the government don't lose sight of the fact that the people recognize their own power and they can also count when it comes to electoral outcomes.
Well, Dr. Yuri, we have about 3 minutes before we come forward. And I take from what you just said, and I hate to try and even improve upon what you just said because I think it speaks for itself. I should be able to stand or sit here and listen to a president of the United States who, if they have complete information about health disparities, have information about who dies of what disease at greater rates, how it impacts women fundamentally different than any other group, and a number of critical policy issues that impact table issues in every single home. And what I perceive, based upon the language that they deliver in terms of cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, or Social Security, I can see a wanton disregard for my personhood. Because when they say cut this program, or cut this program, they themselves, when they say it in the English language, have no idea whom it fundamentally affects disproportionately, which just happens to be me because I'm Black, because I'm brown, because I'm Hispanic, because I'm woman, because I'm gay, because I'm straight, whatever. I find myself in a category of systemic denial because the leader who doesn't understand these facts used language that actually discloses who they are and what their intention is, whether they understand it or not.
They understand it, they choose to ignore it.
Interesting.
Because if we take the Declaration at face value, if all people, men used in the masculine for humanity, are created equal, then the objective of justice should be to eradicate anything that runs contrary to that assertion.
Well, I don't think it gets any clearer than that. And I think that's part of our struggle, that the problem itself, from the Greek to the Latin to the French to ultimately the founding of the English language, and that litany, by the way, even records the life of Jesus of Nazareth, first in the oral tradition, then it appears in the Greek, then it appears in the Latin, then it appears in the English language, when the English language says to love one God and neighbor as one's self. On this question of loving one's neighbor as oneself, what defines a neighbor in English? That great struggle that our nation has been transitioning through since its inception is a constant source of evolution in our nation. We've demanded respect and demanded our rights in that process and our recognition as human beings. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. It's Wealthy Wednesdays. We're on the politics of our faith with Reverend Dr. Todd S. Todd Yuri. Esquire. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580 in just a moment.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Mike Island with BIN News Now. As we've been reporting to you, candidates endorsed by New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani were big winners on election night. They include progressive challenger Brad Lander, who has accused Israel of committing genocide in Gaza. He defeated two-term incumbent Dan Goldman, who was supported by pro-Israel groups. SNAP benefits, or the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, is continuing to go through changes. In many states, restrictions are in place as to what you can buy with your SNAP card, like candies and sugary drinks. In Tennessee, a federal judge has temporarily blocked the ban on the junk food. Some recipients don't have a problem with such a restriction, like Brittany Cottingham of Memphis.
I'd rather be a little more regulated on junk food. It's not that big of a deal to me.
The African-American mother tells WHBQ it's good to be healthy. Get BIN News Now on demand on the free iHeartRadio app.
Attention Ram owners. Complete Recall 67A. Get $500 and a chance to win a getaway to Miami for two to see the final race of the season. Plus, meet Brendan Butterbean Queen. Learn more and schedule at CumminsRecall.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
One of the potential 9 free agents on the Lakers roster is planning to stay with the team. Austin Reeves has agreed to a 4-year, $185 million max contract. The deal will pay Reeves an average of $46.2 million per year. Reeves is signing the richest contract in NBA history for an undrafted player. The 28-year-old Reeves joined the Lakers as a free agent in 2022 after playing at Oklahoma. Reeves was not selected in the 2022 NBA draft. The Dodgers are donating $1.1 million to 2 nonprofits that are assisting families in the LA area impacted by the ICE immigration raids last summer. The Dodgers agreed to help the California Community Foundation and Labor Community Services. Last June, Dodgers management instructed their security team to block ICE agents from entering property at Dodger Stadium to seek out undocumented immigrants. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Number 14. That's where Talkers Magazine ranked Tavis Smiley on their heavy 100 list of the 100 most important talk radio hosts in America. Join Tavis weekdays, 9 a.m. to noon or 9 p.m. to midnight. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
When disasters hit and cell networks fail, Rapid Radios keeps you connected. Instant push-to-talk with coast-to-coast range. No contracts, no monthly bills. Trusted by law enforcement, government agencies, and over 500,000 users. Always ready when your phone isn't. Because in an emergency, seconds matter, and reliability isn't optional. Go to rapidradios.com. Use code RADIO for 5% off and free shipping from Michigan. Rapid Radios. Communication redefined.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project. Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
When the story gets twisted, who's going to tell the truth?
When they cut the microphones, who's still talking? When history gets rewritten, who remembers what really happened? We do. KBLA Talk 1580. Black media isn't just important right now, it's essential. Because when mainstream outlets move on, we stay. When the headlines ignore our communities, we don't. When decisions are being made that affect Black lives in our schools, our neighborhoods, our economy, KBLA is in the room. This is more than radio. This is a lifeline, a record, a rallying cry. Black stories, Black voices, Black power.
The heat is on.
On the air and in the culture. KBLA Talk 1580. Stay connected. Stay informed. Stay loud.
Stand up.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the need. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the need. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
Welcome to the Politics of Our Faith with Reverend Dr. S. Todd Yeary. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Dr. Yeary's social justice work includes having served on the national board of the National Action Network from 2015 to 2021. That is the organization headed by the Reverend Al Sharpton, very close and dear friend of this show, past political action chair for the Maryland State Conference of the NAACP, and co-founding principal of Community Churches for Community Development, Inc., and as founding member of SALT, Strategic Advocacy and Legislative Think Tank, a faith-based public policy collaborative that works on regional and national empowerment strategies impacting disaffected communities. He's often called upon to facilitate creative conversations that solve challenging public policy problems by every single national civil rights leader in the nation. That's who Dr. S. Todd Yeary is. A civil rights attorney, public policy advocate, Dr. Yeary holds a deep belief that honest dialogue creates opportunities to form strategic partnerships that strengthen families and communities. Dr. Yeary, welcome forward to the Politics of Our Faith, your show on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
I am overwhelmed and humbled by your generosity and your friendship. I'm glad to be with you.
I appreciate you so much, Dr. Yeary. Hey, let me pivot for a second to a couple of stories that I think are in the news and that certainly matter. What's your take? Any national messages that emerge out of Mom Donnie's support of candidates in the city of New York and its impact, or are there messages in terms of impact for Democrats on the national stage?
A profound question, and certainly appropriate after what we observed on last night. One, the reminder that all politics is local. Certainly, while the mayor's endorsement of those who share his perspective on what public policy should be, that became evident last night, but he was also selective. It wasn't that there was a widespread or rampant endorsement of everybody across the board. The mayor did some assessment and recognized, particularly from his own experience in running for mayor of the city, that there were some candidates that normally he might have endorsed, but because of the math problem, right? He chose not to. And so, yes, his endorsement aligned with folks in districts where the math was favorable. He abstained from getting involved in places where the math was much more questionable. And so what he's confirmed is that we've got to know what's going on the ground. We can't just assume that platitudes and rhetorical flourishes is going to motivate folks to vote their self-interest, especially if we don't know what their self-interests are. And so I applaud the mayor. I think we should recognize that he comes in with wind at his back. He's in the early honeymoon stages. Certainly, there's some alignment from last night with when he ran. But we also recognize that he's got some work to do. We all do, to understand what's going on. What may affect one neighborhood may not be the same thing that affects another neighborhood. And so we have to be to make sure that everybody gets a chance to be heard.
Dr. Year, let me ask this question. I was born in 1965, and so I was very much aware of a big city machine in the city of Chicago, even in my early years. The power, the influence of Mayor Richard J. Daley. They called him Boss. That's what Mike Royko called him in his book, Boss. And the idea of big city machine politics. You know, Daley was accused of fixing the votes in 1960 for John F. Kennedy with Sam Giancana and others. You know, some last-minute precincts being delivered from the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois, swinging the Electoral College. We don't know what the details were, but that's certainly the lore that has evolved from some of the heavy-handedness of big machine democratic politics. And largely in response out of the city of New York was a national response from a big city mayor. And as far as I can tell, I may be wrong. I don't know if Karen Bass has this kind of leverage, or Kasim down in Atlanta have this kind of leverage, or DC only has one non-voting delegate. But I don't know any of our big city mayors who could have accomplished what Mamdani accomplished in New York City, of all cities in the country, on the issues that the candidates ran against incumbent Democrats. Dr. Yeary, what does that say to you about the emergence of a progressive Democratic machine?
Well, one, there's the machine, right? Be careful that you don't become the thing that you're fighting against.
Yeah, that.
But also, you know, that
right there.
That's a real thing, right? What do we do with this, right? Do we automate it and expand it? But also to recognize what it is and what it isn't. It speaks to the mayor's influence in New York City. It does not make it automatic that the mayor's influence in terms of New York City's politics is transferable to, say, Atlanta or Chicago or anywhere else for that matter, right? So there's a contextual awareness that I think we have to kind of make sure we don't lose sight of. But it also says to the party, as we look more broadly, is that there's something going on in the Democratic Party where when you talk about building a coalition, as Reverend often taught us, is that coalition building is about consensus building. It doesn't yield unanimity. So you have to figure out what you agree on and decide to fight for that, while the other things that may be a little more contentious don't handicap your ability to make progress. That's where I think the progressive movement misses a bit of the opportunity. That often it gets presented from the progressive side that it's all or nothing, when in reality, depending on where this plays out, as you have, 435 members of Congress. When we think about the 100 senators, we have to be mindful of the fact that each one of those districts is somewhat unique. And if we're not willing to be not just bilingual, multilingual, to be able to understand and interpret what folks are saying to us in real time, we're going to miss the window of opportunity to build a true coalition that allows us to make progress on the things where we have synergy, without being sabotaged by the debates around the issues where we don't yet have consensus or agreement.
Reverend Uri, we have about a minute before we come forward. I woke up this morning and my name after Mamdani's victories in New York is Chuck Schumer. How am I feeling this morning?
Well, you know, you were part of the institution. Congress is an institution. Let's see what happens on the Senate side. The mayor is a mayor. It's different than trying to pull a caucus with folks from diverse perspectives and diverse regions to get things done.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Dr. Uri is a civil rights attorney, a public policy advocate. He holds a deep belief that honest dialogue creates opportunities to form strategic partnerships that strengthen families and communities. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. It's the 5th anniversary of KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward right here on KBLA.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Please be advised. You may want to stop eating the following foods immediately: broccoli, kale, bean sprouts, blueberries, quinoa, spinach.
Wait, what? I thought those were good for me.
Turns out not for everyone, because what's healthy for one person can cause inflammation for another. And the only way to really know what your body needs is to listen to it.
Listen how?
That's where Viome comes in. Viome is a simple at-home gut health test that looks at your body's real-time biology using RNA to understand what's happening inside you right now. When your results come in, you'll learn exactly which foods to eat, which to avoid, and which supplements are right for you, all based on the world's largest RNA-based human biology database and thousands of clinical research studies. And many people who use Viome report more energy, better digestion, and a better mood within months. So stop guessing. Start knowing. Learn more at viome.com/gut. V as in Victor, IOME.com/GUT. And use coupon code GUTHEALTH50 to save $50 off your purchase. Viome. Trust your gut.
See website for details. Bills Happen is not a lender and does not make credit decisions. Hey, bills happen. So when you need extra cash fast, go to billshappen.com. Have you been turned down? Are your credit cards maxed out? Do you have bad credit? Go to billshappen.com. All you need is a job and a checking account. You can find a lender and get up to $5,000 cash as early as tomorrow at billshappen.com. Billshappen.com is the smart way to get a personal lender now. So if you need extra money for car repairs, medical bills, family emergencies, whatever you need cash for, go to billshappen.com and you can get the money you need as soon as the next day, up to $5,000. At billshappen.com, our process is safe, secure, and all online. No one to deal with in person. And Bills Happen does not charge you any fees to use our service. It's easy. When you need a lender, just remember, when bills happen, go to billshappen.com. Billshappen.com for the cash you need now. Billshappen.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Created with a share of the 1984 Olympic Games surplus, LA 84 began operations in 1985 as a grant-making and educational foundation. Today, the LA 84 Foundation supports hundreds of nonprofit youth sports organizations throughout Southern California annually, trains coaches, commissions research, convenes conferences, and maintains the world's premier Olympic and sports library collection. They are transforming lives and communities through the power of youth sports. To find out about youth sports programs for yourself or your child, and to get information about the grants and support they offer to schools and nonprofits, or if you want to make a donation, please visit la84.org. That's la84.org. Or you can call them at 323-730-4600. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-505-8991. 800-505-8991. 800-505-8991.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, the politics of our faith with Reverend Dr. S. Todd Yeary, Esquire. Dr. Yeary is also the former chief executive officer of the Rainbow Push Coalition, the international human and civil rights organization founded by my father, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. Dr. Yeary, welcome forward to the show.
Man, listen, I got to do my calisthenics when I come hang out with you. You do heavy lifting every Wednesday.
You ain't wrong. I'm not talking jumping jacks, bro. I'm talking sit-ups. I'm talking.
You doing crunches and Pilates and all. I'm like, man.
Oh, no, I'm no pretzel, bro. I'm the real deal. I appreciate that, though. Hey, Todd, let me ask you a question. I guess I could ask you the if Dad were here question. But it seems at this hour that Democrats are voting in larger numbers than Republicans. In the last election, Kamala Harris got 75,019,230 votes. Donald Trump received 77,303,568 voted for Trump, but 89,278,948 eligible Americans did not vote. Todd, I talk about a word of hope. I talk about giving people a reason to stay engaged and to stay powerful. Because of your capacity, I'd like you to narrow it. What do you say to the voter who could not make the distinction between Harris and Trump, and because 89 million people sat in that space, didn't find the time, with whatever they were doing, to go and cast their ballot for what they believe? Dr. Yeary, help me and the Democratic Party better understand what it means to fish for men, to fish for women, to fish for people in this, if you will, disaffected space, people whose backs are against the wall.
Well, first you got to know the bait. Just throwing a hook out there doesn't mean you're going to catch a thing.
You ain't gonna catch a bass, that's for sure.
Right? You're not gonna catch a catfish.
Which is at the bottom, by the way.
Look, we don't have to be sophisticated. You know, fish know what they're looking for, and it isn't always a full agenda. I don't need an appetizer and a main course and sides and
all that chum. They call that chum. When you just throw it out there.
You know, listen. You know, we're people who learned how to survive without a full menu, but we knew, right, what was going to be the main ingredient. We don't have main ingredient conversations. And I think the reason we don't is because, contrary, you invoked Reverend, who, as now an ancestor, is still with us, peering over the balcony of heaven. He has shown us what that looks like. And I will just simply take you back to that Southern Crusade in 1983, where Reverend got on a bus and went around the South to listen to what folks had as their main ingredient.
Wow. Wow.
And he spoke to that.
That part.
That part. It's not, this is not a hard experiment. When you do the top heavy, I know better because I'm in this place and so I can tell you what your priority ought be, then what you do is you offend the legitimacy and the credibility of folks who have a perspective. And when they feel like their participation, their use of time, everybody gets 24 hours, that's it, that's all. If you're asking me to spend my time to stand in a line to give you the benefit of endorsing your ineptitude to be responsive to my main ingredient, then I'm staying home.
That part right there, Dr. Yuri, is heavy as the Holy Ghost. And I'm thinking in this moment, and I got to put you on the spot here. Are there any Democratic candidates who are running for president right now that you sense, feel, think have the capacity to actually get on a bus like Jesse Jackson did in 1983, go county to county and listen to people in shotgun homes and trailer parks and ask them, why don't you vote, and take the national media with them? Dad went to hundreds of counties and did this and was so convinced that he could string together a rainbow coalition of mutual interests that it changed the course of the Democratic Party for decades. Do you see anybody on the horizon with that kind of energy or foresight?
Well, there are two things. One, to get on a bus. That's not a motorcade. That's not executive protection. That's a bus, right? And honestly, the sitting down with regular folk, your neighbor, to understand what was done, that was really the last time we saw it, was something that Barack Obama did in the lead up to the 2008 election, where he would kind of have this thing. If you want Barack to come sit down with you and some of your neighbors to talk about the issues, then you can put your name in and we'll pick you, and then we'll come to your place, right? It was really kind of a unique way of doing the politics. It doesn't bring you the big crowds, but what it does is it brings you big credibility around being able to listen to the concerns of regular people. That's the issue. Everybody's so busy trying to figure out how they're going to raise big money, spend big money on airtime, that they're not doing the tangible things. And what Reverend showed us, that's how I met Reverend. Coming to speak at a high school assembly.
Man, you got me sitting on the edge of my seat. Listen, I remember when Dad did that. I was on the Southern Crusade. I remember when we went with Frank Watkins to hundreds of counties in the South. Sometimes the audience was 10,000 people. Sometimes it was 2,000. Sometimes it was 100, and sometimes it was 15. But the caravan was coming your way, and it was Jesse Jackson. I mean, he brought the media with him. He brought the attention with him, and that was fascinating. When I ask myself the question, can a Gavin Newsom, a J.B. Pritzker, or Jesse or Kamala Harris, take the positive and negative stories from the perceptions of who ordinary average people perceive them to be as elites within the Democratic Party? If they can make that connection, which I think Robert Kennedy attempted to do in West Virginia and in Appalachia and in Pennsylvania, I think you're looking at the difference between that connection. And even though Donald Trump is an absolute elitist, he has somehow found the rhetoric of the base of the Republican Party that allows him to make the progress that he's made and the impact that he's had on our nation. Todd, we only have about 15 seconds. Your final thoughts.
Get on the bus. It's really that simple.
You ain't wrong. Get on the bus, Gus. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We've been blessed by Reverend Dr. S. Todd Yeary, The Politics of Our Faith on Wealthy Wednesdays. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580. Here comes D.L. Hughley right now.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica,